Hi everybody, Michelle McClunan, astrologer and life navigator, and I'm bringing you an astrology update for the solar eclipse, which is a new moon, and it's happening on the 8th of April. It's a very hyped up eclipse in terms of there's a lot of people talking about this one, mostly because it's a total solar eclipse, and in particular places in the world, mainly North America and Mexico, I think. This is going to actually be visible for a long time. So it's literally where the moon eclipses the sun. So the shadow of the moon basically moves over the sun for a while and it goes dark. So in ancient cultures, people were really scared of solar eclipses because it went dark and they weren't quite sure what was happening. There are millions of people apparently planning to flood into areas to witness this full solar eclipse. In many parts of the world, we won't witness the solar eclipse, but we certainly do feel its energies. So you could kind of see it as a new moon on steroids, or supercharged new moon. It is a supermoon. So even though we don't see the moon when it's a new moon, it's still there and it's still very potent. So solar eclipse it's like a portal. It's an opportunity. It's an opening, if you like. And this one is really potent because it's happening at 19 degrees of Aries. So that means that the sun and the moon are at 19 degrees of Aries, and joining them at the same degree, in fact almost at the same minute, is Chiron, the wounded healer. So that adds a whole new dimension to this new moon solar eclipse than would normally be the case at a normal new moon in Aries. If you look at new moon in Aries is the start of our astrological year. It's a time always at new moon where we plant new intentions for a new season and a new year. So the energy of Aries is fiery, it's passionate, it's impulsive, it's energetic, it wants to get on with things, it wants to get things moving. It's the energy, it's a fire energy. If you can imagine striking a match and getting a fire going, that's the energy of Aries. Okay, so that's here, and it's definitely a time to plant new seeds and to plant new intentions for the year ahead. But at the same time as this new moon, because Chiron is in the picture, it kind of changes things quite radically. So Chiron is the wounded healer. I've spoken about Chiron before, and it is the wound that never really heals, but is actually here in our awareness to actually help us to clear and heal. So it's the wounded healer. And so when the moon and the sun are connected with Chiron, the wounded healer, we can have what we might call or what we might see as a healing crisis. What happens when these three come together, and actually the earth is involved as well. It's a complete alignment with the earth, the sun, the moon, and Chiron, all in alignment. Okay. What can happen ordinarily at a solar eclipse is that because the sun is eclipsed by the moon, the sun is our vitality, it's our character, it's our personality, it's how we shine our light out into the world. And when the moon comes across it, there can actually be the subconscious, the memories, the feelings can come up in sort of covering over the sun. So what happens, especially now with Chiron in Aries and aligned with this new moon, is that it can feel a bit like a healing crisis for some of us. And I'm going to say for some of us because if you don't have anything in your chart at 19 degrees of any sign, then you might not feel this. You might just feel a beautiful opening into something beautiful. It might be a very, very powerful time to plant new seeds. And for all of us, it is that. But if you do have anything at 19 degrees, so that could be the sun, the moon, any of the personal planets, or your ascendant, or your what we call the IC, which is the bottom of your chart, if any of those things are at 19 degrees, then you might be feeling it more potently. So you don't have to know your chart to know that. If you're feeling these things, that's enough. You don't have to understand it at any other level. So what can happen at this solar eclipse, which is also, by the way, kind of aided and abetted by the fact that Mercury has actually gone retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year, and at the time of the solar eclipse, Mercury is retrograde, also in Aries. So on the one hand, it wants to move forward with new ideas, new projects, new communication, but there's a retrograde energy, which is kind of a feeling of almost revisiting stuff from possibly the past. So there's that as well. The ruler of the new moon is Mars. Mars is in a very close alignment to the planet Saturn in the sign of Pisces, which also says endings and going back. And it's sort of, so there's two energies here. There's the dissolving energy, the letting go energy, the releasing energy, possibly even big energy of insecurity, of not feeling very vital, not feeling very inspired, maybe even processing grief at this time. And then there's the other energy, which is a little bit like an engine. I can feel it almost like an engine underneath the surface, kind of saying something new is arriving. It's a kind of a shivery energy for me. Something new, something big is happening. And I think that something big is happening on our planet. I think we are clearing the way to actually step into a new level of consciousness. So with that, we're always after the new level of consciousness, but very often we don't want to actually go through the process of the clearing process, the feeling process. And this is a new moon, so it's a dark moon. It's a time to actually go within and to feel what comes up for us at this time, to allow those repressed energies, the repressed emotions, the old pain to be there if it comes up. You don't go looking for it, but if it comes up, to actually just see it as part of the healing process. It's not there to punish you. You might even find for some people that old injuries have actually come around again for healing. So, you can have an old injury, and with something like this kind of eclipse season, that could be triggered by something, which then allows you to bring another layer of healing to that old physical injury. And you can say the same for an old trauma, an old pattern, an old way that we might block our own light, that we might hold ourselves back. I think this new moon might show us where we feel less potent than we wanted to feel, where we still have these blocks, where we might still have these angry, impatient feelings that we don't necessarily want, where we might have an old pain, an old grief, which is still kind of sitting there. And so I feel that whatever we engage in this new moon, a process where you can just allow yourself to be with whatever's arising. And if that is good for you and you don't have any sort of uglies coming out of the closet, that's great. Enjoy this energy of still clearing and planting new seeds for the next astrological year, for how you want to feel, how you want to engage in the world, what you would like to focus more on. Because so often we can focus on what's missing and not see what's right in front of us. So I would say resist nothing at this new moon. If there's anything arising, whatever it is, allow it to arise. If tears arise, let them flow. If anger arises, feel into it. And if you need to express it outwardly without necessarily, hopefully, projecting it onto anyone else, it's an emotion. It's energy in motion. And feeling is healing. So when we can feel something, we can heal it. When we spot it, we've got it. So when we see an old pattern, when we see, this could be something that's actually coming up for my care, for my love, for my healing, then we can actually transcend it. So I feel that this energy is strongly transformational. Chiron, along with Pluto, are the rulers of like the underworld, the unconscious. And so these things might come up. You might not understand why. You might not understand why you're suddenly feeling tearful or irritated or fearful. And it's not about understanding it, it's just about allowing it. So allowing ourselves time out, allowing yourself to maybe say no if you don't want to engage in social stuff, if you want just some quiet time. So I think this whole weekend, because we're in the waning cycle of this, so every month we have a new moon, and then it goes all the way around to full moon, and then it comes back to new moon. So it's actually, we're approaching, if you're watching this before the 8th, we're approaching the new moon. So we are letting go and releasing. There's like a dissolving energy. The more that we can actually connect in with the ruler of this new moon, which is Mars in Pisces, which is actually allowing us to just be and not to necessarily attach too much to the doingness, to what we have to achieve, to what we haven't achieved, to what we should be achieving, to actually allow ourselves to be kind of in the state of unknown, of just holding a space, a gentle space. There's a lot of fire energy around, and we can just if we can just hold a gentle, caring, loving space, then I think a lot of inner child stuff can be healed at this time. A lot of our old insecurities and concerns and anxieties that stem from deep fear inside us can actually be cleared. So I think it's a very potent time. And just remember that you're not on your own on this planet, connecting with like-minded souls. You know, on the 8th, if you can, have a little ceremony. You know, sit quietly. So if you can be with a group of people or one other person, and just be in a state of peace and love and calm, that sends out a ripple into the universe, into the field. And so if we can be present for what is arising, and we can go into that state of presence and unity, that's going to create a ripple out there which is more potent at a solar eclipse than at any other time. Solar eclipses have a long-lasting effect. It's not just a month. It can last from 6 months to a year. And just something else that came up as well is that Chiron has been at this same degree. This is its second time that it's been sort of hovering on this degree. Last year in July, it was at the same place. So you can look back then and see if that is of any consequence. And then it's going to be here at this 19th degree now, and then again in December. So we're kind of in the middle, sort of this Chiron at this 19th degree. And for some reason, this 19th degree is actually quite potent. So it's just to feel into what maybe was arising then for you and what may be arising now. And it's also got links back to around 18 years ago, what was going on then for you. So you might find that there's similar themes that you can shine some light on. So I think that might help to give you some kind of sense of what's going on up there, and whatever's going up there is mirrored within us, and whatever's inside us is mirrored out there. So I pulled a card for us, this one, and I pulled a card from the Divine Feminine Pack by Megan Watterson, and the card I pulled was Yemoja. I don't know if I'm saying it right, and it's beautiful. I think it's very apt. The inspiration is, I am an ocean of creative energy. I give birth to what exists within me. Yemoja represents the creative force of the unconscious, the secret depths that bring the unseen into the physical realm. The African goddess Yemoja gave birth to all the 14 gods and goddesses in the Yoruba religion. She is caring and nurturing, and yet also fiercely protective and strong, with a desire to relieve her children of any struggles or sorrows. She is worshipped at the ocean or in any flowing body of water, although it's said that her true home is in the Ogun River in Nigeria. She's considered to be a mermaid whose energy, blessings, and power flows through all forms of water, cleansing, renewing, inspiring, and reminding us of the limitless love that we are. So this is showing us the limitless love that we are. So when you select this card, Umoja creates a flow where before there was a block, a stagnation in our life force. When we feel uninspired or stuck in life or in a creative endeavor, from having a child to writing a book, Umoja is the feminine essence that sets our energy back in motion. We often feel we have to do something to get it back in motion, but this is saying flow with it and allow the energy to flow out, to actually arise. As a mermaid, she exists both in the world and also in the unseen depths. She can help us dive down deep into the unconscious or into the collective unconscious and retrieve the hidden secrets or the wise pearls that we need to integrate now for our life to flow again. As the Queen of the Ocean, she baptizes us to start over, to begin again right now, to let everything become brand new. She encourages us to use water as a ritual, to send out our offerings to her, to bless our bodies in a warm bath, or to walk along a body of water and allow its perspective to give us the answer or blessing we seek. She wants to cleanse us of the thoughts that are holding us back. Why do children calm down after a bath, or adults? Why do we feel healed and more centered after a nice long soak, or a swim in the ocean, or a walk along a watercourse? Water is the element that held us in the womb. The return to our first and most primal element, the loss of gravity, the freedom of buoyancy. This allows us to release feelings or thoughts of being trapped or stuck. Umoja reminds you to use your tail. You are of the sea. So that's beautiful. And it says here, what do I need to bring from out of the depths into the material world? So you could say that what are you bringing from the Chiron unconscious into the conscious so that you can transcend and heal and move into your new year. So I do hope that's helped. If you would like to see how this aligns in your own chart, you can contact me for a session, and my details are below in the description. And if you did like this and enjoy it, please would you comment? I'd love to know how you're feeling into this energy, because we all feel it differently. And like and subscribe and share it if you feel that it's might be of help to someone else. So thank you so much. Thank you for listening. Be gentle with yourselves. Whatever's happening, allow it. Resist nothing. Open to everything. Thanks for listening.